Please welcome Terry Scroggins and Luke Stoner.
Yeah. Last time I was here, I got the impression that we did a lot of pond fishing, we did a lot of crappie fishing for people up north, spec fishing for the people in the south. So I kind of brought a little bit of everything here. So I'm here, I'm going to talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. You want to talk about something different, we can talk about cooking, talking about fishing, talking about crappie fishing, bass fishing, whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about. But I figured I'd do a little bit of both because that kind of covers the whole thing. They do this up in Tennessee a bunch catching smallmouth, and I started doing it in the Alabama lakes to catch spots, and that was a floating fly. How many people's heard of a floating fly? Not very many people. That's good. See, that's why it's a good secret. Basically, all it is a little bitty hair jig, and they actually put a cork. They use 10-foot rods for this up there. They put a cork up there stationary so it don't move. What I do is tie a uni knot for a bobber stopper wet the line, and they call him my boss. I'm gonna call him my fishing caddy tonight, so he can demonstrate how we're gonna tie this knot. And to do that, I actually got my girlfriend's cell phone charger out the car so y'all can see it. So he's got him a little pink cord here that he can show y'all how to do that. But anyway, what you do is just tie a uni knot, which he'll show y'all if anybody don't know how to tie. It's very simple. And he can walk throughout, show everybody so people in the back can see it as well. Just tie a uni knot wherever you want your bobber to stop up the line. It could be 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40, however deep you want it. You just tie it where you want it to stop at. I also tied one on the bottom towards the jig. I'll just pass this around. Y'all can do whatever you want. We'll grab that out of there just for a second. Whenever you are crappie fishing, the best thing to get your most bites is you want that jig to be not standing straight vertical. You want it, and when you catch a fish, it'll do that. So what you want to do is pull your line back tight, make it horizontal on the line. Because what that jig's doing, sitting there the whole time, and those crappie always feed looking up. So what you want to do is set the depth where it's right above them, and they can just sit there and sit there and sit there. And every once in a while you just bump your line, and that hair on that jig will jump, and it triggers a strike. It's just a great way to catch them. Now if you want to, what I do with this here is actually, how many people drop shot? Anybody drop shot? All right, so you can relate to this. This is basically just a drop shot rig, and you can stack as many hooks up that line as you want. What I do is tie a polymer, put the tag in through the outer hook, you bring it down, that's where you would tie your weight. What I do is tie another hook on, tie again, tie another hook on, as far up the line as you want to go. So now then, I actually use a jig on the bottom because that's just another bait. So you can send that thing out to the bottom, and I'll stack minnows on these. If I'm grocery grabbing, I'm going to catch those crappie to eat. They don't let us live bait fish on the Elite Series, but when I'm crappie fishing, whatever it takes. So I'll take this and I'll stack, I only put 2 on here because I didn't want to hook everybody. But you can actually stack 4 or 5 hooks going up the line. Now what that does when you cast it out there is you've got 5 or 6 feet of the water column covered. And you can do this, it don't matter if you got a cane pole, rod and reel, whatever. You can use that technique for that as well. And then of course, I'll take that same jig and just throw it out, let it go to the bottom. I hold the rod about a 10 o'clock position, turn the reel handle 4 or 5 times, brings the jig up in the water column, kill it and let it fall down. And that's how Sean and I filmed the show. That's a great way to catch them as well. I'll pass that around. If somebody gets hooked, don't worry, I can pull it out of you. If you're looking for crappie, you got Robin Reservoir that's drained down. It's really good. It comes off the St. John's. Coming from here, the closest place for y'all to go would be Astor. You put in Astor Bridge or right below there. Go towards Dexter. That's probably the best there is down there. Then you have Crescent Lake, which is further north. I guess you'd take 40 to 17 and go up to Crescent City. That's a really good speckled perch lake, crappie lake, whatever you want to call it. They're catching them up there right now as well. I just got a picture from my buddy. He texted me the other night where they're catching them out of the Astor canals. He weighed one on a scale, and on the picture it said 212, so there's just giant crappie in there right now. It's funny, if you hold your rod at the 10 o'clock position and just turn the reel handle, it's real subtle. Your bait will come up in the water column, you kill it and it'll just fall back down. But if you try to jerk it with your rod tip, I would take guys and they wouldn't be catching anything. And I said, just do this. For whatever reason, just do this. And they started catching them. That was the secret to it. Just a real subtle bite. That's what they was liking over there. I'll give you a couple packs of them if you want. I got a box full of what are they? It's just a tube jig, and there's a lot of people that make them. I'll pass them around. These are Mid-South tackle, which is very cheap. That's just the bodies. I've got heads in here somewhere. There's all kinds of different companies that make them. Here's one from Bismo. Here's heads from Mid-South. So you can just pass them around. So about, it's the same thing that's on that rod that's going around.
All right.
But that's white's, plain white's good. I don't think there's really a bad color when you get on them. I think they just bite. So this time of the year, no matter if you're in a boat or pond fishing, probably the number one bait of choice would be, this is a young dinger. You got Senkos, you got, I think Shaw's bait's an Ocho, but it's basically a stick bait that's weighted with salt that when you cast it out, it just shimmies down. So very, very, very effective way to catch them right now. I'll throw this around the room too so everybody can look at it. What's so neat about this bait is you don't have to do anything to it. You cast it at a target, whether it's a weed line, hold it in the grass, under a dock, anything. Cast it out in the middle of the pond, and that bait will just shimmy down. Probably the most effective way to catch them in the springtime of the year, down here and a lot around the country. You guys come from Vermont, I know y'all throw them up, right? Right here, yeah, I know y'all have. But they work anywhere in the country that we go. They work with a weight on the front of them, which that makes no sense to me because it just goes to the bottom, lays flat on the bottom. But it's really, really good. Shallow water conditions, 5 feet or less with no weight at all. Just throw it out. Don't try to work it at all. Leave slack in your line. You'll see your line jump or take off, move. You can set the hook at that time. Another way to rig it is wacky rigging, which everybody know how to wacky rig, pretty much. Basically, just put your hook in the middle of the worm, and it makes both ends just flat, a little harder going down. So, most of the time I Texas rig it. That's the way that is. Another way that's very, very effective in the South, this is kind of regional, is a prop bait. It's a devil's horse. That's probably one of my favorites. I start with you every time, don't I? I don't know why. That's a devil's horse, but there's all kinds of prop baits. You got a boy howdy, crazy shad. There's a new bait that the guy in Indiana's making now. It's called old school twin spin. It's good, but they're basically all built after the devil's horse there. The ring around the bait gets way away from the bait. So in other words, when you make a cast, let it sit there. It's hard to do. Let it sit there for 30 seconds. You twitch it one time. The slower you can work it, the more you'll catch on. Twitch it one time, let it sit 20 more seconds. And then after you work that bait no more than 5 or 6 feet, I'll crank it in and throw it at another target. That's one trick. When you do throw a top water bait, there's 3 kinds of lines. You got braid, fluorocarbon, and mono. A lot of people like to throw braid with a mono leader. I like to just throw straight mono on that. And that's about the only technique that I use monofilament on anymore. Everything else is fluorocarbon. Braid to fluorocarbon, which is expensive. That's why on the spinning rod, which I'll bring it out here in a minute, I get all the line I want for free. I mean, they'll just send it to me as much as I want. But I only put it on that spinner reel once a year. It don't really go bad. What I'll do is put about 15 or 20 feet of fluorocarbon leader on my braid. And that one rod right here, we can throw it around. This is a 6 feet. Luke's been over. My caddy done messed me up here.
Make you think on your toes there.
Yeah, you done jacked me all up there. There we go. This is 6 feet 10 inches long. That's if you use braid on fishing rods. You use long rods to create distance and hook setting power. All right, braid has no stretch. Braid casts further than any other line out there. So 610, what that does, it gives you accuracy, and it gives you good balance, and it still you got enough power because braid has no stretch to do whatever you want to do. So I can take that one rod that's got a shaky head on there and a worm. I can take that one just like it is, and if I want to throw, say if I want to throw that top water bait, I can take and put monofilament leader on there, throw the top water bait. If I want to throw that young dinger on there, I can put it on there and throw it. I can take that one rod, I can do anything with it. If I want to throw a crankbait on it, I just change the leader and throw it. So that one rod will do everything. In my boat, I've probably got 50 rods in there at one time. Sounds like a lot. They give them to me. I'll take what I give them. Bait casting reels, don't take up no room. That spinner rod is just ugly. It just gets in there and globs everything up. So I don't want to carry no more than I have to. So I only carry 4 of them, and the other 46 will be bait casting rods. Another bait that I like to throw this time of year would be a chatterbait. And these things is really, everybody's doing spinner bait around here. I mean, that's a good bait. Still is. I mean, don't quit throwing it because I said quit throwing it. But everybody's pretty much on tour to replace those things with chatterbait. If you get up up north, you got a lot of clear water, smallmouth, they come forever to get your bait. Spinnerbait's still a really good bait to throw. I should say all over the country, but along with that spinnerbait, you're going to throw a chatterbait. And it creates all kinds of vibration. Basically all it is a jig with a blade on it. One on the right was 9 and one on the left was 7. We had 5 that weighed 32. A lot of them on that bait right there. And that's actually a Booyah one knocker. It's a lipless crankbait. It's got hooks all over it now. I can pull them out though.
Booyah.
Booyah. B-O-O-Y-A-H.
You could have watched that on Bassmaster.com. Anytime these guys are fishing a tournament, they're always on the internet. So I was rooting for him, and he said he didn't hear me. So
I didn't hear you.
Ask fishing for 1 second.
Okay.
We're going to Astor, going to launch right there at the bridge. Going to go a mile either side of the bridge.
Okay.
Where am I going to go to get some bass?
I'd put more gas in the boat. Keep on going to Lake George. The prime time temperature down here for spawning fish, between 62 and 66. That's where they really like romance. I mean, they like it 62, 66. So that right there gives you that temperature you're looking for. That's where the majority of them is going to go to spawn. But right south, between Silver Glen and Juniper, there's a point that comes out there. I think they call it Cabbage Point, but it's...
Terry,
Yes, sir.
for the benefit of our new members, full moon or dark moon?
I like both of them. That's a good question. Well, the new moon's very good and the full moon's very good. Now, for those of you that go fishing out here in the Gulf, if you're doing saltwater fishing like I do, don't go out there on a full moon. Them fish will feed all night long, and it's hard to catch them in the daytime. Over there, it's better on the new moon. But bass fishing, especially this time of year around the spawn, is really, really strong on a new moon and a full moon, and it's a toss-up to which one's the best.
How about trophy catch? You signed up for that?
No, but I should be. That's a great program. Is it 8 pounds or bigger?
8 pound.
8 pounds or bigger. They will. You catch a trophy, 8 pound fish or bigger, and they're gonna pay you, right? Is that what I understand?
8 pounds will get you
Okay.
$150.
That's right. Gift certificates at Bass Pro Shop.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you catch an 8 pound fish, which like yesterday, if I had signed up, I had a 9. I'd only got $150. I had a 9 and a 7, so I would have got $150 yesterday. But a month ago, I was at Keensville, and I caught an 11 pounder and 5 over 8 one day. I had 40 pounds of 5 and caught 40. So I'd have made a bunch of money that day.
Especially with the 11 pounder.
And KP, she's the one that runs that, right?
Yes.
She's on and on me about signing up. I don't know why I
Guys,
hadn't
listen up,
done it.
please.
I don't know why I hadn't done it, but anyway, that's the way that goes. We talk about color. In the Harris chain, you know, most of that water's got a lot of color to it. But you get in the canals, it clears up. So just like anywhere else in the country, clear water, natural colors, green pumpkin, your browns, anything natural works better in clean, clear water. If you're out there in the dirty water, your black blues, things like that. That's true throughout the country. So just no matter where you're fishing at, the perfect scales. But if you'll take green pumpkin, a black and blue, you know, a June bug, and maybe pumpkin seed, 4 colors, you can go anywhere in the country and you're going to catch them. Now certain areas, one color might excel a little bit better than the other ones, but as a standard,
What test braid do you typically use?
it all depends on what I'm doing. He said, what pound test braid do I use? On that spinner rod, it's 10-pound braid. Last week I was flipping heavy vegetation, it was 65. If I'm throwing a swim jig or a swim bait, I'll throw it on 50. If I'm throwing a lipless crankbait like we're passing around that one knocker, let's say I want to rip it out of the grass. That's one thing about braid. If you're fishing grass and you want to keep your bait clean, that braid will rip it out of the grass. You won't get hung up in the grass near as much. When I do that, I use 30. Now, one thing I'll tell y'all about braid is it's not invisible. I mean, you can see it. You lay that on the carpet, it's like kite string. You're just going to see it. So what you want to do is go get you a black permanent magic marker. I mean, they make them like that big around at Walmart. You just run. I take my knife and I just cut a slice in it. All right, you run it up and down your line about 20 feet. It camouflages it. It turns it black. You can't see it. So that is the trick on braid. And then when you're flipping and that weight starts to wear your line, that ain't what happened when I broke it. I promise you. When that weight starts to wear your line with that magic marker, you can see it. And then when you're fighting a fish, let's say if you're casting fighting a fish, when you start to see that magic marker line come up, you know how far he is from the boat. So it plays all kind of important roles. WD-40.
How many rods did you pass out?
I don't know. I don't keep up with it.
You might be going out of here.
We'll be all right. They make more away. I don't know how you want to do that. Let me get out of here.
We'll do a raffle.
All right.
All right, let's have a round of applause.